Welcome to part 1 of stage 7, more about verbs. So, in stage 6, you know that we learned 2 brand new verb tenses, imperfect and perfect. And when we learned about the perfect tense, I taught you guys that one of 4 letters will usually pop up towards the end of the verb to indicate that we've moved from present tense, as in ambulat, to perfect tense, as in ambulawit. And those 4 letters, of course, are V sucks, V, S, U, and X. Well, in stage 6, we only saw the V. So, for example, superat becomes superawit. She overpowers, she overpowered. Well, in stage 7, if you just look in your vocab list, you'll notice that some of the verbs have now an S, a U, or an X to indicate that they are in the perfect tense. So example, and by the way, this is how your book will write verbs from here on out. Present tense, and then you'll see a colon, and then the perfect tense. So procated, he, she, it proceeds, versus processit, he, she, it proceeded. Notice how it even doubled up on the S there. Sometimes that'll happen. Terret versus teruit, and intelligent versus intellexit. So there you have it, the S, the U, and the X. If you'll remember from last stage, I think I mentioned that about 90% of Latin verbs will do this in the perfect tense. So what about that other 10%? Well, we got to talk about that right now. So sometimes what will happen is that a vowel will lengthen. In other words, it will become long as you go from the present tense into the perfect tense. And if you'll notice, sometimes, as in this verb right here, facet, which is in the stage 7 vocab list, sometimes the vowel will completely change from one vowel to another. So facet would be he, she, does, versus fake it, long E, would be he or she did. Cop it, he or she grabs or captures, becomes cape it, with that long, again, a vowel change and a long mark there. He, she, grabbed or captured. Now here's a good example. When it, we remember this from a couple stages ago, as in, it'll be coming round the mountain when it comes. So when it means comes, and specifically because it's T, it would be he, she, or it. So it comes versus it came, spelled the same way. It's just that in the perfect tense, the vowel becomes long. So therefore, I think we could say that the perfect tense is indicated by V sucks, one of those 4 letters, and long vowels. Now, there are a few, and you've already seen a couple of them, that are going to do some really strange things when they go from present tense to perfect tense. It kind of sounds like you're stuttering. Reddit, which means to give back, becomes reddit. Wendit, which you know means to sell something, becomes wendidit when it is he or she sold. And then currit, which means he or she or it runs. If you want to say he, she, or it ran, it's kukurit. And these have a special title. They're called reduplicatives, which sounds strange, but there it is, because they sort of reduplicate a sound. Reddidit, wendidit, kukurit. All right, and then there are a very small number, and unfortunately we've seen a few of these already, where, oh my gosh, they look exactly the same between the present tense and the perfect tense. So how in the world are you going to know if this is he or she hurries versus he or she hurried, or he says versus he said, or she drinks versus she drank? Really, what you have to do is just tell from the context of the story. Look at the previous sentences. Are the verbs clearly in the present tense? If so, then chances are when you come across these, they'll also be in the present. But if the other verbs are in the imperfect or perfect tense, in other words, in the past, then chances are these will be the perfect tense forms. Now please note that they only will look identical in the third person singular, and it's only for a handful of verbs like these 3 right here, and we'll only see, I think, maybe 2 more this whole year, but I just want you to know that they're out there. But only in the third person singular, when the subject is he, she, or it, will they look identical. Think about it. If it's first person singular, if it's, for example, I am hurrying, that would be contendo. And then if it's I hurried, that would be contendi. So they would look totally different. All right, that's it for this special part 1. Now go on to part 2.